Alright guys, I did this video once and I did a book review. Oh, I talked about Dream, then I did a book review, and then I was getting into Loki, and I'm like, I know the people on this channel, none of y'all have patience. So, where is Loki? Well, he kept trying to come in a couple times last night, and he said, I did what I did because of I wanted you to remember your independence and your strength as a woman. And I'm all like, how we all get. Oh, Loki, I love you. I knew you could never be mean. I'm gonna make this video and I love you so much. And then he got kind of snarky again. So I'm like, no, you can go. You can go. Where was all this? I wanted you to be independent. He got snarky again. So I was like, go. So, then the ladies and I, we had like a party. We had some cold leftovers. If you're on Facebook, we had some of that. And we were reading my favorite book. So we will get back to Loki, but we'll go into a book now. I may have had this on the channel before. It is called Eternally Bad. And I love this book. And I also hate this book. It seriously depends on what kind of mood I'm in. If I'm in a mood where I hate everything, please don't give me this book. I will throw it. But if I'm in a mood where I need womanly empowerment, which you do, I really love it, and then it's super nourishing. It takes the story of the gods and goddesses, and instead of making them merry with crystals, as the authoress puts it, it gives you the uncensored version of these goddesses. Now, of course, people get furious and get their dander up when their personal goddess is spoken about. So, you may have met some of these goddesses and work with them intensely and go, she's not like that at all. This woman's just a bitch. And you might see it and go, oh, she's exactly like that. So it's very subjective. These goddesses are out for themselves because they have to take care of themselves in a god-dominated world, and sometimes they're thieves, and sometimes they're tramps, and sometimes they're this, sometimes they're that, and they're going off to war, and they're stealing each other's boyfriends and husbands and killing people and everything else. But that kind of gets censored out of our goddesses. I mean, we'll talk about a goddess, like I'll talk about Kali Ma, and she is this wonderful supporting mother with me, but I also know she will kill a demon without a second thought, and she does have this ferocious, bloodthirsty side to her. I love Auntie Sekhmet, but again, she was killing so many people that they had to send down blood-collared bear and get her so drunk that she passed out because she was so bloodthirsty. So, yeah, you do have to be careful with the goddess, because if you get that energy up, if you get that crone or destructive or whatever you want to see it as, that warrioress aspect up, you're going to get what you're going to get. And I really love this book because it talks about a lot of goddesses that a lot of people would, label bad, or, it talks about them maybe in a human form, like with Lilith. They go with the Jewish story. They don't go with the story with Inanna, the Queen of Heaven, wanting, a tree, and, Lilith had to fly away because that was her home, and it got chopped down. She had to fly away. So, it depends on what story you go with, but it's like one of many. But I was reading the, Kali story just this morning, actually, and my Kali video started to replay, because I come in and I answer you guys, and then, like, sometimes I let it play because I'm making coffee or something. So it's a really wonderful book. Yeah, I do kind of sometimes get a little bristly and take issue with it, but it was also very comforting and very nourishing when I kind of let that go last night and just read it to relax and read it as one woman's view and kind of as entertainment. I was okay. So it's a really good book if you want to read about a lot of goddesses. As you can see, I got like mine in the bargain bin, but don't let that dissuade you. And mine looks so bad, actually, because I will take it into baths and everything else. And that side don't look bad, but look at that side. It's gotten bath oil and everything else and gotten steamed as I sat there and read. So, yeah, my copy looks pretty bad. So, I love it. But, it's like sometimes I love it. Sometimes I want to throw it at the wall, which I don't, because then I wouldn't have a book. But, yeah. So I may have reviewed it before and told you how much I hate it. It really depends on the mood I'm in when I read this book, and that's like it with any book. I can love a book series, but if I'm just in a bad mood, I pick it up on like, it's stupid. I hate this book. So there's that. And then I had a dream of, and I'm telling you this dream over again, so let me make sure I get it right. I was kind of on a vacation in a bus with people, and there were blue seats in a white bus. I don't know if that means anything, but there you go, information. And we came to this place where it was mostly, I think, a black floor, and it was vast. And there was like all these t-shirts and everything up at the front and checkout counters, and like we had so much time to get stuff and get back on the bus. But suddenly my brother was there. I do have a brother, but it was my brother and not my brother, so it was more like he was a brother sent to me. And he had these feet, like it didn't seem at the time, but like looking back at the dream, I know they were there, like a tree roots or bird claws, and kind of had the same kind of hands, and he had these big staring eyes, so I think Pazuzu. Anyhow, we go to the back, and we're getting sodas, because we like did not have much time. We're getting sodas and snack stuff and everything, but instead of going on the tour, because again, it was like a feeling like the tour group did not want me, he and I went and we parked on a back road. Somehow we were like here, and we parked on one of the back roads, and this blue, like, beat up car. I don't know if it was a Chevy or what. I could tell you what it was if I saw the picture and you told me, but it was like a not quite a muscle car, more like a cruiser. But anyhow, I'm like doing really bad now. I'm stuck on what kind of car it was. But he was laying on top on the roof of the car, and like I saw those, burr clawed feet with those extremely long, toes. And I'm looking back at him. Okay. And then I'm looking up, and there's this fiery black molten rock shooting towards us. And there were like some shooting like even over us and maybe through us. But we're okay. And I said, hey, wake up, because he'd fallen asleep. I said, she's starting it. And I'm not thinking like goddess when I'm saying this. I'm like she. And we're looking up at the sky, and it's this beautiful blue color, like maybe the color of this microphone. And we're doing, we're watching. I'm watching, and there's like green shooting stars and white shooting stars, all these beautiful shooting stars, maybe red and other colors. And he says, well, haven't you seen this? He's surprised at how enchanted I am. I said, yeah, I have seen this, but I've never really seen it in person like this. I've only seen it in videos or movies or something. And then there's like, it was like she was taking her forefingers and going like this from above the clouds, because there'd be these undulations in the clouds going across the sky. And then a white oval came open in the sky, and there was a black void beyond it, and then there was stars in the void, and then there was a lady, like a hag or a crone, and she was either blue or green. She was both at the same time, if that makes sense, and she was utterly terrifying. And then we both felt bad, but I didn't want to say anything to my brother because I thought, I'm insane, I'm seeing women in the sky, and he said, did you see her? And I said, yeah, I saw her. And he said, we saw her. And we're all excited because we finally saw her. We finally had proof. Again, not thinking this was a goddess, but she was like some kind of local spirit that did stuff or something, if this makes sense. And we went and we found our father, and our father was a sheriff, and there's no sheriff in this town. And he like had his office in a cabin, and again, there's no cabins in this area either. And we're like, Father, we saw her, she's real, she was there. And somehow a volcano was involved, and like, and there are dormant volcanoes in the state, but there's active volcanoes. So it was kind of like maybe Madame Paley coming through and saying, I'm here, daughter, I've got your back. And maybe Pazuzu was there. I have no idea who the sheriff was. But, although I often mention traveling with tour groups and feeling, apart from or not welcome, I always think afterwards that was a group of guys. They actually had my back the whole time. But part of my journey was to separate from them and go off with this other protector and learn a lesson I couldn't have learned just, going along with the group. So that was like a very timely dream. And Loki has been here. He's been nosing around the periphery, but when he first said that he did that so that I would learn my independence and learn to be strong, I totally have forgiven him and he was totally back in, and then he got mean again. And I'm like, no, it's like, I don't know what's wrong with you lately, sweetheart, and I love you as my God, but go. And then he came back in and he completely changed his story about why he had done it. And I was like, you're lying and you never lie. I know you never lie. I don't know what your overall plan is in this, but one of those stories was a lie. Were you lying then or are you lying now? You go, sir, and have a good day. So I can feel him kind of sniffing around the periphery and like popping in for a little bit and like kind of looking at me and like popping out for a little bit, and he's like the form that dresses all in black now, because regular Loki was not cutting it, so I now have like the kind of form that like hangs out in the woods all the time, dresses all in black and has long curly black hair. And he's kind of like the magician form. And the magician form and the breaker of worlds, even though it's all the same god, they are like totally fed up with whatever you would call the other path, the fire path or whatever. And he had come back and we had actually been getting along right up until I fell asleep. And then I woke up this morning and it was like he's gone or he's pulled back. So I do not know what's going on, but welcome to working with Loki. He'll always be my god. And we have it in place that if an emergency would happen, he would be here. I mean, he's obviously here now. But same goes for him. If he needed me desperately, he could come and he could get my help. And he knows that we can have periods where someone asks me how often does it happen. I'm like, I've lost count. We can have periods where we're apart, and we kind of need it because we're both extremely headstrong and we're both always right. And the other one's always wrong. If you would only listen, this relationship will be perfect. So we both tend to raise our voice a lot and we both tend to shout. Oh god, we fight like I used to fight with the Baron, and I used to get so mad at the Baron I would rip off my riding ring and I'll throw it and I hit him in the top of his bony skull and he would just look at me and go, well. And I would literally like take my ring and whip it across the room and whip it at his altar because I would get so enraged with him. I don't do well with alpha male personalities. I really don't. I mean, we would love each other intensely and be all lovey-dovey and I love you forever. And then the next moment we'd be like, I'm gonna kill you. So, yeah. And the Baron actually was, in a way, much nicer about it because he would just take his ring and he would disappear. I would not find the ring until he decided to come back. And he and I actually, for all we fought, we'd actually fight about stuff that mattered, if that makes sense. And he would not pick a fight at random and not let me know what it was about. I knew what it was about. Believe me, I knew what it was about. And we were both very passionate, but we both still loved each other very deeply. Where with Loki, sometimes you wonder, what's your agenda, Loki? What are you really after? Do you really love me? Do you really want me to be with you? Do you really want to serve? What's your agenda? Are you here for a game or what? And, Baron having fought with me so often, and we having, yelled at each other so often, we were built for that, if that makes sense. We were built to fight. And as mean, as nasty as it would have sounded to outsiders, it was just us getting our frustrations out, and it was never meant to harm the other. And we always knew that. We always knew that, like, at the end of the day, we loved each other very intensely. And we'd have this big old fight, and I'd throw something at him, and he'd go, well, and he'd take off. And we'd get back together. We always have. We always have. We will always love each other like that. We're, you just sometimes can't put us in the same room. But we love each other intensely, too. It's a paradox. And since he is an expert at fighting with me, he has, put his bony nose into this, and he's like, yes, dear. He's like nasal cavity. He's back there now. And, he's put his bony nose into this, and he's like, I do not like how he fights. I do not like the way he picks a fight. I don't like the way the subjects he picks to fight on. I don't like that he only tells you his tactics or his reasoning afterwards. He feels that Loki's being very dishonest at this point, so like he's standing guard, and you do not mess with the Baron. Remember, he is deaf, so well that's one of his many functions. But you know he's deaf. He's ruler of the cemeteries and everything else. Like Oya, and Oya was in last night too. So like all the deaf gods and goddesses are like kind of like hanging around and kind of just like watching shop, and the energy still feels lighter and happier, and like it's flowing better in the house. So it just might be there was just way too much buildup of Loki's energy, and he was being treated like the special little prince, and that was my fault. I have a tendency to do that with my gods. I treat them like special little prince or princess, and they get a little too out of hand, and I don't stop them, and a little too out of hand, I don't stop them. Then it's totally out of control, which is why when I tell you to like step on something when it first happens, you should. So yeah, right now you can feel him sniffing around the periphery, and he'll come in very briefly for a couple seconds and then be back out. But he will eventually be back in. I don't know if he did what he did to make me more independent. He will give you 5 different reasons, and then he won't tell you which one's true. So I've like right now I've had enough of that. So he can stay out. Don't pick a time when I'm in pain, and don't pick the time of the month when Goddess has given me a monthly gift to pick a fight, and he knows that. It's like, I will kill you. I become Pele. I'm like Pele incarnate. I will kill you. I will destroy your entire village as well, because that's just how I am. And it's like he knows that like I will go off and try to soothe myself and everything else. And if you come and you pick a fight at that time, well then your blood's on your hands. So I don't know why he did it. I don't know why. He will probably come by with a stupid excuse like, "Oh, I didn't want you to think about how miserable you were," or something. And I'll believe him. I don't know what the real excuse is, and I probably never will. With Loki, you do a lot of sighing and a lot of forgiving and a lot of having compassion and thinking, "God, he's a hot mess. Who else is going to take care of him?" And that's usually why you take him back. Oka and I were even talking about last night. Oka's like, you know you're taking him back, right? And I said, yeah, I know. He's a hot mess. Who else is going to take care of him? So yeah, I still love him. I still serve him. Like, he knows that if he wanted to come in, he would be... It's a paradox. He would be served. He would not be liked right now, but he would be served. So yeah, guys, everything is... Yeah, actually, that's pretty normal. I'm surprised in over a year we haven't had a big fight before, unless I'm like forgetting. But yeah, that's actually par for the course with us. So if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. Everything is as okay as it can be. He hasn't at least done that thing of coming forth with gifts and like simpering and pretending he's sorry, because he's not sorry. And he's not. He's Loki. He's not sorry. Don't do it again. He told me that, and then he went back on it. So it's like he's acting extra spastic lately. Loki with extra spastic sauce. And I know it's very easy to feel sorry for him, and I mean sorry, not compassion, and be like, "Oh, you crazy little thing, come here, you." But that's not always good for him. So yeah, I'm not like holding out to be mean or cruel, punish him, or teach him a lesson, because he will not learn. But it's like I've just really had enough, and I need some more time to like get my feet truly under me before I deal with him again. I can like feel him, like I said, he will pop in and out, and he will be like all around me, but he isn't like directly approach me today, because I think he knows, he's just going to push things backwards. So I hope you guys did like that. He will be back in. Then I'll be making you stupid video about, oh, this is what he did it, and he's the best god ever. Forget what I ever said about him being mean. But I will leave those videos up so that you learn a lesson and I learn a lesson. He can be straight up nasty sometimes, and that's when you need a break. I think he just had too much of being around me, and he needs a break, and I need a break, and we will be good. So I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.